The Megalodon was the apex predator of its time. That's not up for debate among scientists. Nothing hunted it. Nothing challenged it for the top spot in the ancient ocean food chain. But apex predator doesn't mean invincible. It means nothing above you eats you. It says nothing about what might exist beside you. 12 million years ago, there was exactly one other animal on Earth that the Megalodon would not approach. Not a bigger shark, a whale. This whale had teeth on both its upper and lower jaw, each one over a foot long and nearly 5 inches thick, more than double the size of a Tyrannosaurus tooth. It hunted other whales, it hunted things the size of a school bus, and won. This is the only known case in the fossil record of an animal that may have genuinely rivaled the Megalodon for control of the ocean. And what actually happened between them is darker than a simple monster fight. Its name is Leviathan melville. Leviathan comes from the same root word as Leviathan. Melville comes from Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick. Here's what makes the naming choice strange. Modern sperm whales reach 60 to 70 feet long. Leviathan is estimated at only 45 to 57 feet. On paper, the modern whale is bigger, but raw length is misleading. If you put a modern sperm whale next to a Leviathan, you wouldn't be looking at which tail is longer. You'd be looking at the mouth. A sperm whale has a narrow jaw lined with small teeth built purely for suction, feeding on squid, useless in a fight. Leviathan sacrificed length for raw bulk and bite power. Its skull was shorter, thicker, and reinforced specifically to absorb the shock of ramming into another massive animal at full speed. Each tooth was over a foot long, nearly 5 inches thick, the largest functional teeth of any animal that has ever existed. Not tusks. Functional weapons designed for violence. Critically, Leviathan had massive teeth on both jaws. Modern sperm whales only have teeth on the bottom because their entire strategy is suction feeding in the dark. You can determine an animal's diet just from its teeth before ever watching it eat. Leviathan's dual rows meant it could clamp onto something enormous and tear away massive chunks of flesh by thrashing its head almost identical to a crocodile's death roll. This wasn't a whale built to filter feed. This was a whale built to dismember other apex predators. So who would win in a direct fight? Honest answer, we don't know, and we have zero fossil evidence they ever actually fought. No Megalodon teeth have been recovered embedded in Leviathan bone, but both animals represented the absolute biological limit of what an ocean predator could become. Any real confrontation would have been catastrophic for both. A Megalodon's bite could crush a whale's ribcage instantly. One solid hit from Leviathan's jaw could sever a shark's pectoral fin or shatter its spine, and a shark that can't swim is already dead. This almost certainly meant adults spent most of their lives avoiding each other entirely. Neither needed to confirm who would win, because both understood there was no version of that fight worth having. But animals aren't purely logical. Whales are warm-blooded mammals, and despite running warmer than the surrounding water, the Megalodon still couldn't match a true mammal's sustained energy output. In a pure endurance battle, Leviathan wins, but endurance doesn't matter if the fight ends in one devastating hit. On size, this is closer than you'd think. Megalodon at 50 to 60 feet, Leviathan at 45 to 57, functionally a draw. Weight tells a stranger story though. Megalodon ran 50 to 70 tons, with the largest females potentially over 100. Leviathan came in lighter, around 40 to 50 tons. In the modern ocean, whales are almost always heavier than sharks. Here, the roles flip completely. Leviathan was the leaner, faster animal. The Megalodon was the heavier tank. Most researchers who model this put Megalodon winning roughly 55% of the time, but that number comes from incomplete fossil evidence. The truth is, we genuinely don't know. If adults mostly avoided each other, where did this rivalry actually play out? The real war happened in the nursery. Megalodons used specific nursery zones, shallow, warm coastal water where pups could grow in relative safety. And a Megalodon pup was already 6 feet long and fully capable of killing. To an adult Leviathan, a 6-foot shark is an easy meal. Using size and sonar, an adult could systematically pick off the next generation of apex predators before they grew large enough to fight back. Eliminate the competition while it's small and get fed doing it. This worked in the other direction too. Leviathan nursed its young directly, traveling in tight family pods to protect calves. If a young Leviathan strayed too far from its mother, it had effectively no chance of survival alone. And this is exactly where the Megalodon held the advantage. While Leviathan depended on group numbers for protection, the Megalodon was a solitary ambush predator built for patience, waiting motionless in murky water until a calf wandered just far enough from the pod. This wasn't a single dramatic battle. It was a slow, ongoing war of attrition, each species killing the other's offspring to suppress future competition before it could mature. Eventually, this war ended, and the winner is almost nobody saw coming. Neither of them did. Around 3 million years ago, the planet began cooling. The early whale species both predators depended on for food couldn't tolerate the dropping temperatures and began evolving rapidly into massive open ocean migratory whales, animals like blue whales, which adapted to travel to freezing polar waters to feed. Leviathan and Megalodon were trapped. Both were essentially metabolic furnaces requiring warm water just to survive. Neither could follow their prey into the cold. The Megalodon starved because it had become too large and slow to chase down faster, far-ranging whale species. Leviathan starved because its food source vanished from the regions it could survive in. The animals that actually survived weren't the apex predators at all. It was the sperm whale and every species that never tried to be the biggest thing in the ocean. They simply dove deep, ate squid, and avoided attention. This is the central irony. The biggest, strongest, most dangerous animals to ever exist were simultaneously the most fragile. Becoming hyper-specialized at dominating one role means the moment the environment shifts even slightly, you're the first species gone. This rivalry reveals something fundamental about how nature regulates size. There's a reason we don't have 100-foot sharks today. It's not that evolution couldn't produce them. The math doesn't work long-term. Leviathan and Megalodon represent something close to the absolute ceiling of how large an active hunter can become before thermodynamics breaks the system. To stay a fast, aggressive predator at that scale requires a caloric intake so extreme you need an ocean functioning as a permanent, unlimited buffet. The moment that buffet closes, the entire system collapses. It's genuinely rare for any ecosystem to support two super predators of this exact scale at once. The fact Megalodon and Leviathan coexisted for millions of years is proof of how extraordinarily rich the Miocene Ocean actually was. You can still see a faded echo of this rivalry today. The great white shark, solitary, cold-blooded, and ambush predator. The orca, warm-blooded, social, operating in coordinated pods. When orcas show up in great white territory, the sharks flee immediately. A smaller, modern rerun of the exact same conflict. For the animals that survived this collapse, the biggest winners weren't predators at all. They were the prey. Blue whales eventually grew even larger than either Megalodon or Leviathan ever managed. Today, a fully grown blue whale is functionally untouchable by any living shark or predatory whale. The only reason blue whales were ever permitted to reach that scale is the extinction of both Megalodon and Leviathan. With the ocean's two dominant predators gone, baleen whales suddenly had access to an unlimited food supply with zero predation risk. Their evolutionary size limiter broke completely. For millions of years prior, growing massive and slow was a liability, not an advantage. A hypothetical 100-foot, slow-moving whale during the Miocene wasn't safe, it was simply the most attractive target for a hunting Megalodon. The apex predators were actively eating the competition down to a manageable size before it could grow too large to challenge them. Even today, if a Megalodon were somehow brought back, it's unlikely it would even attempt to hunt a fully grown blue whale. A single strike from a modern blue whale could cripple it permanently. As satisfying as it is to imagine these two titans locked in constant combat, the ocean is extraordinarily good at erasing evidence. We have never recovered a complete Megalodon skeleton, not one, anywhere. Because its skeleton was built from cartilage, the ocean has erased nearly every physical trace beyond teeth. We know it could bite with extraordinary force. We have no real idea how it actually moved. For Leviathan, we have one genuinely complete skull, including the cavity that housed its biological sonar organ. What we don't know is how powerful that organ actually was. Was it purely a tool for locating prey? Or something closer to a genuine sonic weapon, capable of stunning an animal the size of a 50-ton shark? The evidence required to answer that dissolved into the ocean millions of years ago. There could be fossils sitting in an unexplored trench right now that completely rewrite this story. But if there's one thing worth taking from this rivalry, it's that the ancient ocean was never the peaceful ecosystem people imagine.